y'all, welcome to Crazy Cajun Living, and today we are going to be canning some ground meat. Okay, so what I have is ground chuck. I have about 6 pounds. So what we're going to do, we're going to transfer our meat into our container that we're going to cook it in, and we are not going to add any extra oil. We can add a little bit of water to cook it down, but no oils. You can buy your ground meat in bulk, but do not buy anything that is a tube that you cannot see through. Just go ahead and pay just a little bit extra so that you can see your meat and make sure that it looks good and it's something that you're going to want to eat later. Okay, let's start out with equipment, and we are going to be using pint jars. I have like over 6 pounds, so I may end up with 7 or 8. So I'm going to go ahead and process 8 jars. They're going to be processed in the dishwasher. They're going to be nice and clean and hot when they come out. And some of the things that we're going to need: use a yardstick, use a measuring device for your inches of water. Make sure you have everything out, everything's clean, your workstation is clean. We've got our, I'm probably not going to use this, but I have it out just in case for my lids. And you want to use something that's plastic that you're going to go down and around to get the air bubbles out of your jars. You're going to be adding 1 teaspoon of iodized salt to your meat. Okay, and you have your meat transfers. This helps transfer into the jar. I use this for filling. It took 2 of these pitchers to equal my 3 inches. Next, we're going to be using our white distilled vinegar to wipe down our rims of our jars once everything is packed in there, because we do not want any fat or any oils on our jars, or they're not going to seal properly. Okay, so let's get started. What I have here is this is the Cadillac of canning pots. It is the All-American canner. It is the 921. You can stack multiple things in here, but we want to go ahead and measure out our water. Make sure there's 3 inches. It says 2 to 3. I put a little over 3 because I'm going to put my heat on while I'm cooking the meat so that it's nice and ready, and in case there's any evaporation, you end up with your 2 to 3 inches to start your process. Okay, while my jars are being processed and right before I get my meat ready, I'm going to go ahead and add my water. This is going to be what I'm going to add to my jars over my meat. So let's get started. Okay, we have our ground meat, which is our ground chuck, and we are going to get this browned, but we want it a little bit pink. We don't want to cook it all the way through. So I did add a cup of water. You don't want to add grease, and we're going to strain this, but we're going to start cooking this down. We are going to turn our pot on so that it can start to boil. Be sure and oil your rims. So let's get this on high and let's get this going. Okay, my meat is done, and I went ahead and changed my mind on the boiling water to pot pack with. I went ahead and made a beef stock, basically a beef bouillon flavor. We're going to use that, and we're going to use that in our jars instead of just the water and the salt. So my jars are nice and warm, hiding under here. So let's start packing the jars. You do want to pack these jars loose. You don't want to pack them tight. And you want to allow a 1-inch headspace on this. You can see that gives you your headspace right there, your 1 inch. That may be a little bit too much, so I'm going to take a little bit out. Okay, we are all filled. They're loose packed, they're not tight packed, and it's right up to basically the headspace, and then we'll fill it with some of the broth that is almost ready, and let's get going. Okay, my jars are super hot and this was almost ready. So let's go ahead and get this beef stock transferred over to our jars. And you can hear all the fans going. When you're canning, it is very hot. I have my husband's shop fan going. All right, so we have that one. So let's take a look. All right, maybe a little full, but we're gonna get all the air out. So let's add our broth to all of our cans. Okay, our broth is in, and what we're gonna do, we are going to work around these jars with a plastic, anything that's plastic. There are tools that are designed specifically for canning. You do not have to go and purchase this. You need something that's plastic, that is not glass. And you're just going to, see those little bubbles come up? Watch. We're just working out the bubbles. Go around each side. Just kind of pull it towards you. And make sure you get all of the bubbles out the best that you can. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, let's watch it. Okay, I'm going to put it in and I'm going to pull it towards you. See those bubbles? Basically going around and getting as much as the air bubbles out that we can, and that will tell us in the end when we're done if we need to add more juice. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of these. Okay, so we went around all of the jars and got as much as the air out as we could, and as you can see, this one's going to need a little bit more water. I'm going to use a little pointer here instead of my finger. This one's going to need a little bit more water. That one, maybe a hair. That one's perfect. See? Perfect. Get that one. It's going to need a little bit more. A little bit more on that one. And a little bit more. And you want to get to that 1 inch headspace, which is about right here. You want to go about right there. Okay, now see how some of this meat is floating? That's okay, it's going to do that. Okay, so let's add a little bit more of the stock to the ones that need it. Okay, now that we are working with a very, a greasy, oily product, you're going to use your white vinegar. Get you a little bit. You're probably going to go through a couple of paper towels, but you want to wipe down these rims really well. Over. Another little spot. Alright, you just want to do this, go through several paper towels, make sure the oil and grease is off of your rims. Okay, I went around those rims so many times, they were squeaking when I was done. Alright, you can get your magnetic doodaddy, and you can pick your lids up and just put them on there, or tap the water off. Nobody says you have to use that magnetic thing. Alright, this is warm water. You want to make sure it's just warm enough, not boiling. You want it warm enough to soften the gum around the new lids. A lot of people reuse lids. I don't. I can afford to go and buy new ones. But if I couldn't, would be kind of in a bind, kind of scared to reuse them. I know some people do, but I don't. It's whatever your preference is. All right. let's get the rings on. Did I say this was hard to do with one hand? You just want to go finger tight on your lids. That's it. Okay, I did have enough beef stock left over, and I did put this in a can. So we are at a rolling boil. So let's go ahead and get all of our jars in. All right, I'll show putting some of these in. Be sure and grip this really, really, really tight when you pick it up. Okay, and let's fill the rest. Okay, all right, as you can see, it's not gonna hold all of them. Got 2 left, but guess what? This 921, you can double stack. So, let's get this on there. Make sure they're all under the lid. And we will put one over here. And one over here. Okay, let's get the lid on. Okay, the way this lid is designed, it has a arrow in the front, and there it is. And it has the hooks that are right under it. And so we have a little bit of difference in our lip space, so let's fix this. I'm just gonna get a tool, I'm gonna go around it. So that, there we go, it's even. All right, let's double check it. All right, we're good. I'll get a little bit more. Okay, don't force it on. Okay, now we're going to lightly tighten this one, and then the one directly on the other side of it. Just lightly, very lightly. Now this one, very lightly. Everything is just real super light. Okay. Now we have 2 more. So let's do this one. Okay. Make sure it's all the way over there. Lightly. Let's do this back one without burning my fingers. Okay, there you go. See, just lightly done. Now, I'm gonna put the phone down, and at the same time, I'm gonna tighten this one and this one. And then I'm gonna do this one and the one directly across from it. So let me put the phone down so I can do this at the same time. Okay, it is tightened. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to put my fire on high. And what I'm waiting for is this to completely vent. And basically what that means, full steam is going to come out of this. And then I'm going to start timing it for 10 minutes. And once the 10 minutes is up, then I'm going to put my weight on. And I actually have tied this because this is my second weight because I lost the other one. So I'm just going to set this right here, and we're just going to wait for this to start steaming. Oh, we did a little something, but we'll be back. Okay, as you can see, we are venting steam, so that means it is pressurizing. We are going to time this for 10 minutes and put our weight on it. Okay, this is really chugging along. You're gonna think that it's ready, that it's fully pressurized. It is not. Make sure your timer for 10 minutes goes off before you put a weight on this. Okay, folks, our 10 minutes is up, and we are going to put this. You can go barehanded, but I'll use a glove. And you want to know which poundage to put it on. Mine is going to be 10. drop that on there. Okay, now what's going to happen is you want this to come up to your 10-pound mark, and it will start toggling. And once it hits that 10-pound mark, and if you want it to toggle 1 to 4 times a minute. Anything over that, anything under that, you need to find the sweet spot and adjust your temperature on your little dial. Right now we're on high. We're waiting for it to get to 10. Okay, let's talk about how we know how many pounds to put this on and how long we're going to cook this at. Well, you need to look it up. If you have an All-American 921 or any of the All-American canners, it comes with a very specific book that comes with it. And in there, it will give you instructions. Well, what we are doing, we are hot packing. We hot pack that meat. We hot pack ground meat. And we are going to process that for 75 minutes on 10 pounds. How do we know it's 75 minutes? How do we know it is 15 pounds or 10 pounds? It's based off of your sea level. If you're 0 to 1,000 feet to sea level, it's 75 minutes at 10 pounds per pint. And if you're doing a pint and you are at above sea level, you're going to do 15 pounds per pint. And like I said, all these instructions are in your book. You can Google instructions. If you lose your book, you can always go online, download a PDF, and that way you have it. But we have hot packed ground meat. And what you can hot pack, chopped or ground meat, that includes, you can do bear. You know, for some people that, you know, do wildlife, you can bring back bear, process it, chop it. You can do beef, lamb, pork, sausage, veal. Around here we do venison. We love our venison. So, I mean, you know, I have a family of hunters and there's always fresh meat available, and that is awesome. You know, if you have a hunter in the family, you always have fresh meat and you don't have to worry about anything. But we're processing hot packed ground beef. So we're waiting for this to come up. Right now we're on 5, and once it comes up to what we need it to, this thing is going to start going crazy. And what we're going to do, we're going to drop our temperature down just to where it toggles 1 to 4 times per minute. And then once that hits, we're going to start our timer for 75 minutes. And like I said earlier, if you have a pressure cooker, just tie your weight to it. This is my second one, and I believe it was $17 just to replace the weight. So tie that thing to the lid and you will never lose it. Okay, that's where we want to be. And you want, once it starts doing that, after you've turned your flame down, time it for 1 minute. Actually time it for 1 minute and count on your fingers how many times it jiggles like this. All right, so the 10-pound weight, 10 pounds. I found a sweet spot right here, and it's about a medium-low heat. So I have set my timer for 75 minutes, and I will constantly check this. Do not just go into the other room, start doing laundry and things like that. You need to keep an eye on this. And then set your timer. I set one on my phone, and I set one on my my microwave. And we'll come back once it's done. But look at that, that beautiful little sound. Perfect. That's what we want. And we want it to do this for 75 minutes. Okay, it is done with the timing. We have turned the fire off, and we are going to let this depressurize on its own. So what that means, don't mess with the pot at all. Don't touch it, don't mess with it. Leave your weight on there. There's your poundage. just let it cool down naturally, and then we'll be back. Okay guys, we are done, and we are the pressure is down, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the little nut. And as you can see, it does have like a little sound to it, but the pressure is down. So I'm going to loosen these up and just open the lid, but not remove the lid. Okay, I did not remove the lid. I took the lid, I loosened the lid basically. And if you open this, it's going to, it's basically going to cool to room temperature. Whatever the room is outside, it's going to cool to. So I'm just going to open that just like that. I am going to head out to the grocery store, come back, everything should be cooled down a whole lot more, and then I will take them out. Okay, our jars are out, and look at them. Don't they look beautiful? Anyways, thank you guys for watching Crazy Cajun Living. Give us a thumbs up, a comment, and some love by subscribing. Thank you guys so much, and y'all have a blessed day.